Hey, welcome back. Jackson and I are hanging around in the shop today on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. We've been doing a couple little projects and we were kind of discussing some of our favorite tools.
Yeah.
So I thought I would point out my 5 favorite tools in the shop today. Number 5 would have to be my concrete slab. I don't think people realize how useful a concrete slab is unless you don't have one. It's nice to have everything mounted on wheels. All my tool carts are on wheels. And if you've ever laid out on the gravel or in the mud, in the cold, working on a piece of equipment, and when you work on heavy equipment, a lot of times it breaks down where that's necessary more often than not. You realize how priceless a concrete slab is. In the future, I'd really like to pour a slab outside the door because I'd like to do some things you'd like to do outside, cutting, welding, burning, painting, stuff that would be much nicer outside and a lot safer. So that is a future thing. Number 4 would be my cordless tools. It's just so handy to be able to go do something quick or simple. And I'll admit, if I'm going to do a lot of something, I'll use air or electric. But for quick jobs, for driving a lot of screws or bolts, the cordless stuff is great. I keep a couple, 2 or 3 cordless drills around so that I can keep tips in them without having to change from drill bit to driver tip, depending on what I'm doing. And cordless tools have come a long way. The batteries last great. When I first went in business 40 years ago, you had to charge the whole tool. The batteries weren't detachable, and battery tools were really kind of junk back then. They have come a long way. Now I have a lot of outdoor power tools, and I've been thinking about maybe getting a battery-powered chainsaw. Would work really good. I could throw it in the front of the truck. I don't have to worry about gas fumes and all. If I'm going somewhere where I might just need to trim one tree branch out of my way or something to get a piece of equipment or some material delivered onto a job site, instead of lugging a chainsaw and a gas can and all that. Number 3 would have to be my roll cart. These are my most widely used tools, stuff that I would use on more of a daily basis, more generalized mechanics tools. I can roll this cart right to where I'm working. If I'm doing service work and topping all fluids and stuff, I keep a bottle of each kind of fluid that I would have in any equipment, just general service tools, and I can roll. Like I said, I can roll this around the shop right to where I need to work. If I'm doing something more involved and need more specialized tools, that stuff's either kept in my box or various workstations around the shop. These are tools that I would use on any given task. This is like a service cart more than an actual heavy project cart. That's how I just keep some really basic stuff in here. Some basic standard and metric. Basic pliers. It's just some few miscellaneous things. And my most widely used generalized sockets, flashlights, stuff like that. And number 2 would be my workbenches and work tables that I have around the shop. This is my central workbench that is more in the middle of the shop. This is, stationary. Put a lot of bigger stuff on here, use it for a lot of storage. I've got some other tables if I'm working on things. This is a table that I had built years ago, and Jackson thought we'd paint it up one day, so we kind of painted it up and made something out of it. But it's a great tear down table. If I'm working on something, I can lay all my pieces and parts out, have different tools that I need all close in hand, and I can wheel this around to whatever project I happen to be working on. This is currently the front end axle of the Kubota that I've got to get back together. Then I've got a smaller table. This one here is a lot more mobile. I roll it around the shop. I built all these. They're made out of metal. I can bead on them or weld on them. That's another reason I like to have a slab outside. I can wheel a table like this outside and use it as a welding table. Again, anything that's future projects or projects that I'm working on. And even I can use, if I'm sitting down on a stool or something working on a piece of equipment, I can lay stuff here so I don't have to be reaching down on the floor all the time. And this used to be an old drill press stand, had a board on it. I welded this piece of metal on it. I use this more for if I want to paint something or put something out of the driveway or to work as a sawhorse. If I'm doing a really big tear down project, I'll even set up some sawhorses and put some boards on it. because in case you haven't noticed, this isn't drywall dust in my hair. I'm getting too old to be bending over and picking stuff off the ground all the time. This is much easier on my back and my knees. And now number one. Tool that I think should be everybody's most important tool in their workshop, their job, and their life in general is your brain. Using it to use the right tool to do the job right, safely, efficiently, and in a craftsmanship-like manner. I've seen too many people, they rush through a job thinking that efficiency equals getting it done as quick as possible, and usually that means you end up doing something twice or it comes out really haphazard and not done right in the first place. Trying to get a job done as fast as possible just for the sake of things happening and getting things done can usually end in work needing to be done twice, poor craftsmanship, missing something, or can even have dire consequences. Ask any nine-fingered woodworker that you've ever met. And I'm telling you this from experience because I was rushing through a job when I was 16 and I cut the end of this finger off and it had to be sewed back on. I was rushing to get a job done on a Friday so I could go hang out with my friends, and I ended up having my date for that weekend ended up being with a needle and thread in the emergency room. And you can learn better from me telling you this than actually experiencing yourself because it was very painful. In reality, all of my tools are my favorite tools. I have tools here that I can remember exactly where I got them, when I got them, why I got them. This level was given to me by an elderly neighbor we had when I was about 6 years old, and I remember it like it was yesterday, and I wouldn't part with this for the world. And I have other tools here that were given to me as gifts by my parents who are long gone, or my father-in-law who's gone, or my brother-in-law who's gone, and they all mean a lot to me. And I'm hoping that Jackson, as he picks up tools over the years that I give him, gains the same respect and memories for things like that. That there's a lot of sentimental value in my tools, let alone, useful value. And I feel very passionately about my tools. And while we're on the subject, my best little helper, Jackson, he's got a few of his favorite tools that he'd like to talk about. I'm trying to help him build up a tool collection so that when he's my age, he'll have all these tools anyway, but he'll have tools to work with.
Alright, so I'm going to show you guys my 3 favorite tools. So right here is a multi-tool. If you open it up, there's a plier. There's a pair of pliers in it, and over here there's a saw, a screwdriver, a knife, and a can opener. Actually, no wait, the can opener is over here. There's another saw, a flathead screwdriver, and a can opener over here. And that is my first favorite tool. My second favorite tool, so like if there's something that's really far in a crack that I'm trying to get to, this is really useful because it could just like pick it up from way over there and get it back out without me having to do anything but just move my arm. And that is my second favorite. So this is my third favorite tool. It's a adjusting hammer. So like if you're putting something in a vise that's just like a little out, you can use this to adjust it just to the way you want it very easily. And it's just perfectly flat. So these are some of my favorite tools from the shop, but I'm sure it'll probably change over time. As always, please remember to leave a like and subscribe to this video.